The biggest thing that I found troubling from that briefing was the suggestion that, number one, they would discourage us from debating things like a War Powers Act resolution, and number two, their unwillingness to identify some point at which they would need to come to Congress to get authorization for the use of military force. I find that very troubling.
And if you don't like what the Commander-in-Chief is doing from a congressional point of view, cut off funding. We cannot become 535 Commander-in-Chiefs. I thought the War Powers Act is blatantly unconstitutional. I've said that for decades. No matter who is president, you can only have one Commander-in-Chief.
That's nonsense. He's got it exactly backwards. Look, I love Lindsey Graham. He's my colleague. He's the chairman of my committee, and I love working with him. I agree with him on a number of issues. He is mistaken insofar as he has said what you just described. In no way, shape, or form is Congress pushing back on presidential use of the war power and infringement on the president's commander-in-chief power. There's naturally some tension between where the war power ends and the commander-in-chief power begins. Nonetheless, that's why we have the War Powers Act. It doesn't substantively alter or attempt really even to define a bright line distinction between one power and the other. What it does do is set up a procedural framework whereby Congress can advance debate and discussion about one power versus the other within Congress.